Okay, at the outset, thank you, Rasik, to have thought of this get together.
Yeah,
Uh, well, good evening and hi to all my dearest friends, colleagues, well wishers, and teachers. This is Rajiv Totla, your president, interacting with you after a long, long pause. I hope you all are fine and doing well. I also hope that your family and family members are also doing well. Please do take care of everything in this critical hour of lockdown period and opening up of lockdown period of coronavirus pandemic. This lockdown period has made me more human and made me more humble too. This is the time to leave all the bad habits which are basically detrimental behind. Let's help poor, underprivileged and downtrodden people as much as we can. And this is the time, my dear friends, to share and to care for all. While the lockdown period is getting over, partially lifted at few places, be very careful when you restart your work. And with this scenario in mind, I do not think any kind of physical conference is possible, at least in 2020. So I take this opportunity to suggest taking digital way of conference, Maharashtra chapter 2020. And I suggest to all my distinguished friends to consider this. And I'm sure it is possible with this kind of meeting. And in that conference, I can hand over my charge to my dear friend Rajiv Redkar, also who is incoming president. This lockdown period can be very well utilized by doing constructive work. If you ask me what I have done in lockdown period, I have learned first thing saxophone very well. I did good workouts, which is my hobby. Read quite a lot. And basically, I interacted with my son who is in USA with the great extent which filled up all the lacunae so far because both of us were always busy and unable to talk even to each other. I think that is the biggest achievement which I could have had in lockdown period and where we spoke morning, evening because he was working from home and I was rather free. Only one thing which was sad which happened was I lost my mom-in-law in the same period and due to lockdown we could not reach for her last rites too. Neither me could go nor my best half. She died not of COVID but old age issues. I also feel sad for Sarita's loss. Sarita lost her mom. If anyone else has been lost, I do not know. I'm sorry for that. But my Shraddhanjali to all and both the mothers and to them. And if I am missing anyone, the same Shraddhanjali for them. This period, I think, should be considered for good webinars. Now, what are the webinars which I suggest? See, basically, we do not know much about finance. And after this lockdown period is lifted, the work is going to be very difficult. The every scenario is going to be difficult. How best we can manage the finance, we need to learn from financial experts. If you all could feel, I know few financial experts in Mumbai, and we should take their intelligent advice. And one webinar can be arranged on that. Second, I suggest should be on physical fitness post-lockdown period because there are several issues in the lockdown and post-lockdown. We should concentrate on physical fitness and with good personal trainers, we can have one webinar who can give us tips on physical fitness. Because most of us are reaching 50, 60 and 70s even. Post-COVID scenario, academic scenario, if I consider, I request Madam Kirtane to talk on GRD. Madam Bharti Kulkarni and Datar sir to talk on extrophy. Santosh to talk on urinary incontinence. Raju Redkar to talk on biliary atresia. Manesar to talk on reconstruction in pediatric urology. Rasik Bhai and Ravi, both of you can speak on the laparoscopic surgeries. And even I think Sanjay Oak can also be considered considering he's the leading for COVID scenario in Mumbai and for whole Maharashtra, considering his schedule, we can also invite him for tips on the COVID and post-COVID scenario in Maharashtra. With all this introduction from your very beloved president, my dear friends, I call upon my other friends to consider to proceed for this hackathon and enlighten us about the advances in our branch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajiv. I think what you have suggested is to have a webinar or rather online conference of Maharashtra chapter. And maybe I think this is not the EC, but we should discuss amongst the EC and finalize that. I think that will be, at least we can have symposium and oration and some paper presentation and handing over the charge that can be easily done on online conference. If anybody has any suggestion, Ravi, Meera has joined from Delhi. Welcome, Meera. And anyone else, if anybody wants to give any opinion, Bharti Madam, then you can give about online Maharashtra chapter conference.
I think Rasik and Rajiv, it's a good idea to try and have an online meeting, because otherwise we will not have any kind of academic activity this year. And especially ask the juniors in the department if they can present some papers. They need to be encouraged more because they are actually working quite hard in the hospitals. They have been put on COVID duties, and a lot of them are actually quite depressed because of the stress of working in COVID ward. So they need some sort of an encouragement from our side, and it will be a good idea to ask them to go on presenting something, at least to distract them from day-to-day stress in their working environment. And it is feasible to conduct an online meeting, and it may not be an entire day session. It can be split into multiple small sessions where most of the people can find a convenient time, and we can have that kind of a meeting or spread over a few days. It is better to have something rather than nothing at all. Let it not be a 0 year for any kind of a meeting for this year. We must have some activity going on.
Yeah, in fact, Ravi, if you remember, we had put in a same kind of message in Executive Council as well as in the General Pediatric Surgery Group of Maharashtra. But there was no encouraging response, hence the idea couldn't be considered. But I think this is worth considering.
Yeah, no, I think opinion of Bharti Madam, Venkatkar sir, Mane sir, Dinesh sir, they can help us in deciding whether this is a worthwhile approach and whether we should be doing it. Maybe a small group meeting with seniors to guide us, and of course Kirtane Madam also.
Yeah, Bharti Madam, please.
Yeah, we should encourage our juniors, because the same seniors talking repeatedly is not very good. However, we can ask the suggestions from juniors if they want some discussion on particular topic.
In fact, I was thinking that even our Mumbai chapter conferences, or rather clinical meets, which used to happen once in a month, which is not happening for very long or happening irregularly, we can make it online so the participation is good and anybody from India can attend or anybody from world can attend. We can make it case presentation series for 1.5 to 2 hours once in a month or 2 months. And
I think that's a great idea, Rasik.
Yes.
The clinical meeting can be easily done online, and I think lots of people will be able to attend.
yeah,
Sunday afternoon or evening or something.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
is
great idea.
wonderful.
No, I think also we should allow people from out of teaching institute to present their work. There are a lot of people doing very good quality work in the peripheries of Maharashtra. Let them also show their work in these clinical meetings.
So
They don't get any opportunity to showcase their work, and they all are doing very good work, and we must encourage them.
So what we should do is under Maharashtra chapter only, we should organize this clinical meeting of Maharashtra chapter online.
Yes.
And our
Correct.
2 hours, we can give one case presentation to all institutes and one for private practitioner. So everybody gets 5-7 minutes to present, and I think that will be a wonderful idea. In fact, tomorrow we have SPU Con webinar at 10 o'clock in the morning. So those who do not know, this is to inform you all. And there are going to be 3 case presentation in that 1.5 hour, whatever time it takes. So something like that we can, have under Maharashtra chapter conference, or means online webinar also.
We have not received the link for SPUCon.
Anyway, I will put it in Maharashtra chapter and I will share it on individual, whatever numbers I have, I will share with them. Can we have Zahur? Zahur, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Zahur has prepared some presentation. I will share the screen and
Yeah.
he will speak. So audio will be of Zahur and I'm going to mute everybody right now. Zahur, you need to unmute yourself and then start talking.
Josna is visible now.
One sec. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
is my slide seen well?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be able to interact with all of you, especially in this lockdown period when we have been finding opportunities to meet people, interact with them. So I thank Rasik and Zahur for thinking of this great idea, and webinars and web meetings is something which is in vogue and which is in fashion. So great, maybe we could have done a few even earlier, but better late than never and fantastic. So Zahur actually asked me and gave this intriguing title for my talk and called it Yo-Yo. And as he said, he's already disclosed to you what this yo-yo means. So over the next maybe 8-10 minutes, I just will like to share with all of you, my colleagues, seniors, juniors, some anecdotes, some experiences, some stray thoughts, some lessons, some regrets, and how I moved from worked in both the public and the private sector. So this yo-yo is not the yo-yo that you see in this picture. It is also not the yo-yo movement of urine in a duplicated system. But this yo-yo is, as Zahur mentioned to you, it's an acronym which stands for you are on your own. And friends, I got this overwhelming feeling of yo-yo when I shifted from the Wadia Children's Hospital after a long stint in the public sector to a completely corporate private hospital, that is the Leelavati Hospital. So this was in 2003. Now, when I look back, I feel that this yo-yo feeling existed even before I shifted, although it was not so overwhelming. In today's times, in the COVID pandemic, it is not just doctors, but it is every citizen who's probably getting this yo-yo feeling. Maybe the migrants, maybe the doctors, healthcare workers, whatever. But we don't want to go into the pandemic discussion just now. There's enough of gloom and doom all around us. So I want to talk to you about some moments, some landmarks in my journey as a pediatric surgeon. And I'll try and keep this as lighthearted and as informal as it can be. As I told you, I became a proper independent pediatric surgeon when I came into Wadia Hospital in 1996 after being a lecturer in Sion Hospital, and then I shifted to Wadia and became a unit in charge. And I think that was the time when you are you're a complete boss, and you have clinical independence. So I think that's a landmark which all pediatric surgeons, a few years after they qualify, should seek to get proper clinical independence. My Wardia stint was certainly very exciting. I think I ran a good academic full-time unit. In fact, so much so that we had fellows visiting from Europe in succession. We had people coming from Italy, Hungary, UK, Spain, and spending not just few days, but few weeks, sometimes couple of months, participating in our unit surgeries and activities. Expectedly, there was lots of clinical work. And I remember my work hours used to be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Ujjwala, my wife, used to not like that at all. In those days, I started taking more and more interest in spina bifida work, in the incontinence work. But given the flood of all kinds of cases, I also happened to do probably the largest number of biliary atrasias in a period of 4 to 5 years than anybody in the world. So friends, pediatric surgeons, we have huge amount of work. It needs to translate into more research, more papers. During my days in Wadia Hospital, the ruler of Wadia Hospital was a very well-known, glamorous and feisty lady who was the director. And she used to come, and if you spoke to her and convinced her, your work was done. And what is the Genghis Khan picture doing here? Well, she, I don't know why, but had labeled me as Genghis Khan. And she used to tell people, please go and call Genghis Khan. And I sometimes wonder why, because I did not do conquering of any territory. I had enough in my own territory to deal with. So there was no Genghis Khan type of missions to go and acquire lands. But then I looked at my picture during those days, and sometimes I feel if Genghis Khan wore a spectacle and I grew my hair and a beard, then maybe I could look a bit like Genghis Khan. And that's why probably I was called so. So when I joined, am I audible, Rasik? All well?
Yeah, you are audible. Please continue.
Okay, okay. So when I left Sion Hospital and joined Wadi Hospital as unit in charge, and on my first day in Wadi Hospital, I go to the hospital and I was to take over from the person who had the Midas touch. And I'm sure some of my teachers and colleagues will instantly identify who was the one man in Wadia Hospital who had the Midas touch. Well, it was a very interesting story of his last day and my first day in Wadia Hospital. I go to the hospital and the person I'm referring to is none other than our beloved and respected man and teacher, Dr. Kapoor. So Dr. Vinod Kapoor was in the OT. He was bent down over a neonate doing a pancreatectomy. And this is where the Midas touch comes in. As you all know, some of us know, Dr. Kapoor used to wear a thick gold chain. And while he was operating, I was standing behind, looking over the shoulder. And this gold chain was continuously in the neonate's abdomen, touching all the organs there. So after about 5 minutes, I tapped his shoulder and I said, "Sir, can I pull your chain back? Because I think it's touching the patient." So Dr. Kapoor, in his own style, looks back and says, "Oh, Santosh, the touch of gold never harmed anybody." And believe me, the operation continued with the golden chain, with the intestines. Post-operatively, no infection, splendid recovery, and the patient went home just fine. So I still remember and I have deep respects for Dr. Kapoor, who was a pioneer. And it was only an open-hearted, generous man like him who could get away, if I may say so, with all his pranks and mischief that he did at all the top level gatherings across the world. Let's leapfrog from the first day in Wadia Hospital to the last day. Okay, the last day in Wadia Hospital was equally exciting. I was this time bent over a patient in the operation theater doing some major case, and suddenly I am surrounded, the whole OT table is surrounded by all these glamorous looking models in their ramp attires and looking and observing the operation. For a minute I was stunned and I said, "What is happening?" And then I realized that the whole and soul of Wadia Hospital asked them to quickly go in and have a look and come back. And for some strange reason, nobody asked them to change clothes. And they came in the OT and were observing the operation. Believe me, against all impulses, I was able to resist the distraction. And I stood my ground and I said, "Madams, can you please go outside? You are not supposed to come. This is not a ramp walk between these two OT tables." So that was the first and last days of my really exciting stint in the Wadia Children's Hospital. 1990, okay, but I must say that even in Wadia, there was a yo-yo feeling. Because in spite of doing so much work, so much teaching, so much academics, so much staff, the hospital did not provide me with an office. The hospital did not provide me with equipment. The hospital did not provide me with secretarial staff. And from my meager salary of something above 20,000 rupees, I used to spend 1/3 of that amount in equipping my office, in paying a private secretary, and struggling to maintain them. So the yo-yo feeling, I mean, was existed at that time too. 1996 to 2003, and in 2003, there came a situation in Wadia Hospital where I started feeling, because of various reasons, there was shortage of funds. Our equipment would not be repaired for weeks, sometimes months. So I said, for me, there is no further scope to grow academically, surgically. My personal front was completely, under stress because I used to be in Wadia 12 hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And of course, I was happy, but with what money I was getting. But it's only after I left that I realized how ignorance was bliss. But then, apart from them, there was one more peculiar reason. Rasik, am I okay? Audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
Continue.
because I can't hear you while I'm talking.
Yeah,
So
I
they,
mean, you all are muted. So if there is any
okay,
problem, I'll interrupt you.
yes, okay, sure. Thanks, Rasik. So there was one more reason, and which is a strange reason, but I think it played a big role. And I call that reason the Sar Dard. Okay. So at that point in 2003, having become senior enough, my senior colleagues, both in pediatric surgery and pediatrics, had all left. And even there were less number of seniors in other specialties. So there came a point where everybody in the hospital, right from the gatekeeper to the security to ward boy to resident to colleagues to other unit people, everybody called me sir. So I said, I don't want to be in a place where nobody can call me Santosh. And it's a peculiar feeling. So I said, so that was a subconscious, again, reason for leaving. Wherever we work, we want colleagues whom we can frankly talk to. We don't want everybody calling us sir, and everybody, with everyone, you have to pose and talk. Well, so that is how I left Wardi Hospital in 2003. I must say that my transition was rather smooth. Although I had this yo-yo feeling, but I was going from a teaching unit into another teaching unit because just a few months, couple of months after I joined, we got our first DNB candidate. And I must give due share of credit to Dr. Redkar, who had already done a whole lot of paperwork very perseverantly and diligently to Lilavati Hospital, to that situation. And so, I mean, I was never used to being alone and doing things without residents. And luckily for me, Lilavati Hospital provided that opportunity to again be in a teaching environment. And I think we have, over the years, done a fair job with the teaching unit of Lilavati Hospital. And I must say that except for maybe 1 year or so, we have consistently had residents joining us for a 6-year course for pediatric surgery. Let me look back a little at my sector and private sector experience vis-a-vis various things. We all know and we all understand today in the days of the pandemic, which has exposed our healthcare system, we realize that there is no choice. It is a choice between the devil and the deep sea. The yo-yo feeling is there if you want to do good work in the public sector, and the yo-yo feeling is of course there in the private sector. It is a matter of quantity versus quality. It is a matter of accountability or no accountability. Academics and research problems and difficulties are the same in both sectors, except then in the public sector, although you have yo-yo feeling about patients, they are dho-dho. We say, patient. So that quantity is not a problem in public sector, but we realize that's not in. Well, that I was in absolute bliss as far as earnings were concerned, because I never bothered to find out how much money people earn in the private sector, what they do. I was happily busy with my work, and whatever salary came at the end of the month was okay. My wife was not, because in February and March, regularly I used to get a negative pay minus 50 rupees, minus 20 rupees, because my tax would be deducted. And so she used to be a little upset, but I had no time for being upset. And I was an ignorant man in bliss. And only when I came to Lilavati Hospital and did my first operation, I realized that after putting in 15 years of service in public sector, my entire salary of the month, I earned a bit more than that in my first operation in the private sector. Friends, I think the situation is a bit better now, but this was something which existed. I think today it's a shade better. While we talk of earnings and remuneration and income, I firmly believe, and I like to say this to my friends and colleagues and students and juniors, that to be a happy doctor of any specialty in India, you have to be a 70% medical doctor and a 30% medical social doctor or a medical social worker. Because if you are in the private sector and you will not operate on poor patients, you will not arrange money for poor patients, then either you will not get enough patients or you will do all kinds of things to get patients. And I'm proud, and I must tell this to my junior colleagues who sometimes feel despondent with the way things are. I am very proud that till date, I have not felt the necessity and have not given any cuts. I have been astounded by colleagues asking me with disbelief, सच्ची ने कर दिया है कि नहीं? So that kind of responses, but you don't have to. The second thing, again, I'm proud of, and I want to emphasize to my juniors, is that no patient should have to leave your care because he or she doesn't have money. And I maintain my record till date that no patient has had to go away from care because his spouse got it. Happiness, satisfaction, you do not get from what you earn, but from what you create and from what you give. I'm a great fan of country music, and I would want all of you to listen to the lyrics of a song by a famous country singer, Vince Gill. And the lyrics, the starting two lines are, no matter what you make, all that you can take is what you give away. It's a splendid song, wonderful song. Do find the time to get and hear it. Okay. Quickly, last few slides, and maybe we can have questions and comments at the end. But I want to go to a flashback. And I'm sure my colleagues, erstwhile colleagues in Sion Hospital, and I must remember them. And at this time, Dr. Bharati Kulkarni, Madam Deshmukh, then Sanjay Oak, Dr. Ravi Ramatwar, who was shoulder to shoulder with me, and they might remember. And a small anecdote of this great conference and workshop that I had the pleasure of organizing in 1994, when the great John made the great Hari. So it was in this meeting that the famous John Duckett and the equally great, but maybe unfortunately not so famous, Dr. Asopa, Hari Asopa, I had the pleasure to make them meet together. And we all know about the John Duckett operation, and we all know whether it was actually originally thought of by Dr. Hari Asopa. But Dr. Duckett and his wife came to Mumbai 2 days before the workshop, And he was a hefty man, a strong man. And he told me, Santosh, I want to spend 2 days seeing Mumbai and having a good time before the workshop. So my residents were kept at his disposal. He went on eating butter chicken, parathas with a lot of beer, and he went to Mumbai's VT station to see the crowds. And then on the day of the workshop, I get a call at 5:30 a.m. from the great John Ducken, and he says, Santosh, the Bombay bazooka has hit me, and I have been awake the whole night on the pot in my hotel toilet, and he stopped, and my heart stopped for a minute, and I was silent because 400 people were going to be there at 8:30 to see John Duckett operate. But John Duckett, the man that he was, within a minute, he tells me, but Santosh, don't worry, I will survive. But you have to do something. And I have seen in your operation theater, you have that goddamn hole in the ground. You please fix that and see that I can use it. And then I will survive. So at 6 a.m., I was running around Mumbai trying to get a portable Western commode to fix on that goddamn hole in the ground of Sion OT. So that was the way in which the workshop started. And not many people realized, as he was demonstrating the Duckett's repair, suddenly towards the end of the urethroplasty, he looks at me and says, Santosh, you have to complete the operation. I immediately realized what his problem was. I think the audience must have felt funny because it was so sudden, but it also gave me the opportunity to demonstrate hypospadia surgery to a 400 gathering when I was just a lecturer. So that's the interesting incident. Let me end and tell you a bit of few more things that I wish to convey. I think everybody, especially juniors, I would like to tell them that in surgery also you need to develop your area of interest, because that will hold you good in the long run. And I am lucky that I developed and pursued my interest in spina bifida, and now that is, become my prime interest, especially treatment of you and surgical management of urinary incontinence. And I must say that we get patients from around the globe, certainly from all over the country, who come to us for management and surgery of incontinence. And then over the years, I met this man, Godfrey Oakley, absolute star. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
Continue.
Okay, I'll be finishing in a minute.
Yeah.
And he is the ambassador of folic acid. He has lectured several parliaments across the world. And my meeting with him gave me the thought that we need to do more than surgery in spina bifida. And that's how the Spina Bifida Foundation was formed way back in 2006. And then it has only grown. And I'm happy to say that we have now state chapters in about 15 states. And 2 more states have joined us during the lockdown. And these chapters, again, I must mention to this crowd, are led by leading pediatric surgeons from various cities in different states. So you need to cultivate a niche area of interest, a passion. I mean, there are not many new things happening in our specialty. but you need to focus on existing few things and improve. In spina bifida, there is something new, and that is fetal surgery for meningomyelocele. And a couple of months before the lockdown, I spent some time in Katowice, which is Europe's leading center for fetal surgery. And here I am with Agnieszka. She is the first female fetal surgeon in the world and does a huge amount of fetal surgical work. And with the help of Lilavati management, we were exploring the possibility of starting a fetal surgical program in Lilavati Hospital just before this lockdown came up upon us. And we hope to be able to still pursue that in the days to come. Here, if you can see this picture, is the fetus, a uterus which has been opened, and you can see the bubble on the fetus's back. The fetus's back is not seen, only the MMC is delivered, and it is repaired exactly as one would do postnatally. Lastly, friends, a regret. And when I look back, I realize that I certainly have had very good teachers. I've had skillful surgeons who have taught me operations and the way to do operations. But my regret is that I have never had a mentor. And friends, junior students, please search for a mentor in your careers. By mentor, we don't mean a colleague or a teacher will teach you how to do a hernia, how to do an augmentation. But a mentor is a person, he can be a teacher, he can be a surgeon, but for whom you will in your life and who will show you the right thing to do, who will guide you about choosing the right path. So I regret that I don't have a mentor. And therefore, friends, I feel you are many times in the yo-yo feeling, but search for people who can help you to get out of the yo-yo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh. That was excellent. You can stop sharing the screen now.
Yes, I will do that.
Yeah. Excellent talk, and there are a lot of things which all of us will learn from your presentation. And the last slide, I think nobody of us will forget, is having a mentor. And we don't have a lot of time for interaction. I'll straight request Dinesh to start his talk. Dinesh, you have any slides or just talk?
No. I'm just going to talk.
Okay. Please start.
Yeah. Can you see my picture?
Yes.
I can't see mine. That's what I'm saying.
That's fine. You know how to look, so you have to look.
Anyway, good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
And I'll start this talk with my due respect to all the departed souls. Dr. Irani, Dr. Dalal, Dr. Vinod Kapoor, Dr. Madok, and anyone whom I have forgotten maybe. Now, when Jawur Patankar called me up about a fortnight ago and said that we would like to listen to some of you seniors who are more experienced. So I just thought of a definition of experience, which somebody has said, that it is the continuation of making the same mistake on and on with increasing confidence. That is the definition of experience that somebody has done. So I hope I don't follow in that category. Now, the first thing he asked me was, how did you enter pediatric surgery? So when I was an intern in JJ Hospital, I did a locum in pediatric surgical unit for about 6 weeks. And that is how I got interested in this subject. And I thought that treating children was very interesting. Now, he asked me, the next question was, what is an incident that caused an impact on your career? Now, when I remember, having worked in plastic surgery, I used to do a lot of skin grafting and in the unit. And one day I had grafted a patient and I had a 25% loss. So Dr. Tawalkar didn't say anything that time. He just opened the dressing and he said, meet me in the office. And privately he told me that, look here, having come from plastic surgery, this is not expected of you. So you have to tell me in the next 24 hours, what was the cause of this loss? Was it a wrong graft, thick graft, thin graft? Was the recipient area not prepared well? Or the hemoglobin was not very good? Or did you do it too early? You have to give me an answer. So that made me think that whatever I do, I have to think whether I am doing it correctly, whether I am doing the right thing at the right time. So this is what has been, all along my career. Now the next question he put up to me was about the instrument that I have designed. Now this is the Dr. Irani's clamp. Can you see this, everybody?
No, full.
Can you see this clamp?
Yes, sir. We can see it, sir.
Can't see.
Now it is, picture has gone. Just your video is not seen.
Video is not seen.
Yeah.
I've clicked on start video.
I can't.
Can
It
you
was
see
already on, sir. It was already on. Just click it again, maybe.
now?
No, we can't see your video.
I don't know. I can see Totla's, but the host has asked you to start your video. I've clicked on video start, but it's not starting. I don't know why.
Anyway, you continue. I think most of us know, but we need to see the.
See, now can you see?
No,
No, it was seen nicely, sir. I don't know what happened.
I think just do it again, entire thing.
We saw the instrument.
We saw and it went off immediately.
No, I just clicked on start video, but it's not starting. I don't know why.
Can you log on again? It will take maybe 20 seconds.
Log on again. I don't know how to do that. I'm not techno savvy. Anyway.
Must be RAM problem.
No, it's not starting the video. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah.
Where is my picture now? I just see if my picture is there.
We can see Dinesh Kittur, not your video. We can hear you.
Yeah, but I have unpin video. What is that unpin video now? Can you see?
No, we are not able.
No, can't see.
No. Anyway, you can see my picture, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
no?
No, we can't.
You can't see my picture also.
No, it's also not seen.
We can only hear you, Dinesh.
Yeah.
I don't know why the picture is not coming. But I clicked on start video. But anyway.
Just
So, sir, may I suggest if you leave the meeting and just join again, please. If you just leave the meeting and join again, there's a red button in the bottom corner says leave, and then go back to
Bottom
the
leave. Yeah, okay.
and then just join again, sir.
if it takes more than 15-20 seconds, we'll request Dr. Bharti Kulkarni to start his talk, and we will continue with Dinesh's when he joins back. Madam, Bharti Madam, are you ready?
Unmute.
Yeah, now we can hear you, Madam.
Okay.
You can start. I'll request Kittur to join, start his talk.
Because when Kittur started, we were seeing all the time Totla. And again Totla, not me.
Now we can see you. I'll pin you. So then,
See, you shift your.
no, now you will be there, madam. Nobody else will come.
Rasi, Totla.
No, you are there.
No,
No.
No.
We can see you, madam.
We
You can start sharing your screen if you have slides. We can see you well.
Madam, you will be seen. You will see maybe Totla, maybe Rasiksha, but everybody else will see you only.
Yes.
See, when we started our residency, it was a pyramidal system. So everyone who joins as a resident need not be a registrar. So it was very difficult at that time because every 6 months you will have to apply for a post. So you never count on your boons that all these students nowadays are getting directly 3 years residency. And we are always there brooding about the things. What Santosh said, I do not agree that there is no quality in public health service. If you are not giving your own 100%, there will be no quality. If you give 100%, there will be quality in public health system also. And happiness comes from within and not from outside. And no other time than COVID time, you must realize that money cannot buy everything. So unless you are happy from inside, nothing in the world will make you happy. Now because I'm in teaching right from the beginning, I will start with my teacher, Dr. R.K. Gandhi, who always told us that treat the patient and not the investigations. And the world seems to go all wrong. And now we are treating the investigations and not the patients. Thanks to corporate culture, because we are getting governed by the MBAs and not by the doctors. It's much better to have a boss who is a surgeon rather than a boss who is a MBA and CA. So you are not being directed what to do by the non-medical. Now, the second thing which I say is, are we treating the investigation? Yes, because earlier the patients had some symptoms. Nowadays, they are just being diagnosed antenatally, and then there is no way we can have a control, because in private setup, people are doing number of cases more than total cases in public hospital. That raises a doubt whether unindicated surgeries are being done. Now, in practice, what we are talking about, investigations are at one time. There is no longitudinal study how the disease evolves, just because hydronephrosis is seen in antenatal period. Then we have the investigations that this will require. Now, Dr. Gandhi used to give us one example that carcinoma in situ operated will give this much 5-year survival rate, which is highest. But you do not know that the patient may live without manifesting. That is the evolution of disease, which is never considered in today's evidence-based medicine, and which is also very, very clear in today's Lancet and New England Journal of Medicine, how we are run by the pharmaceutical company and by non-medicals. So enough of that. And now can I share the screen?
Yes, madam. You can go to share screen and then.
So actually, how do I go about? Because we do not see the things as they are, but the way we are. So we find the indications and we operate. Now, I can do it does not mean that I should do it. What is in the best interest of the patients? Now, in hydronephrosis, if we operate in young age, everything we operate heals by fibrosis. Okay. Now, in between, when I was trained, The indication for operation for vesico-ureteric reflux was grade 3. And suddenly then they found out that even grade 5 resolves. So because in between there were no papers where they could say that because of fibrosis, this patient had worsened. So no one is honest enough to say whether it was going wrong. Now, how did I turn to, because no one wanted to do extrophy because the results were very bad. And Dr. Gandhi had told us that aims of the surgery are good cosmetics results, volitional voiding, there should be dry interval without any back pressure changes, and normal section functions. Now this was as difficult as treating a tiger, okay? But at that time, we did not have so strict rules and regulations that it must go through ethics committee and approval and all those things. So at that time, Elizero was in vogue. And what I thought, if we cut the iliac bone and put a traction, then the pubic bones will come together. So we requested our head of the department of orthopedics, Dr. Dheer, and then he had cut the iliac bone and put a traction. And gradually we were increasing the tension so the pubic bones should come together. And this patient's name was Abhimanyu. And he really was Abhimanyu, caught in the circle. And as we were tightening the screws, what was happening? The bones were not coming together, but the entire system and the screws had come out. So it was, the word miss this great innovation of ours. Now, this idea of extrophy repair was conceived while repairing a fistula in a staged repair. Now you can see in this patient that even if they were saying that it was a good result, the penis is totally upturned. But the skin which is separating the penis from the scrotum was looking quite different, and we mobilized that and closed the fistula, and it healed. Now, see, because we always are under the impression that what Western world does is the best, and we have to look up to them. See, why can we not teach others? So there should be some self-esteem. On the left-hand side, you can see a patient which was operated by a great pediatric urologist, and on the right-hand side is the patient who is operated by me. Now, what I say is in this patient, because how Kelly got
एंडोस्कोपी जायले आम्ही करूया पण ते मागीर तेनेच केल्या बरे ते मागीर परत करतले.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Someone else is talking.
Yeah.
So what I said that in this operated patient, I said that the patient, instead of having mustache, is having a beard. That pubic hair-bearing area has gone under the penis. Okay.
Yeah, madam, your screen is not seen, so we are not able to see the photographs. But no, I mean,
not a single one.
No. We initially it was okay, but now we are saying about the photos. So you will have to do slide share screen in the center. Lower down you have that icons share screen.
Again, you remove that share screen and I will do it again, because for me it is
We are seeing your picture only.
No, I'm seeing the slides.
No, but you need to do share screen.
You
Then
want to save the changes? No, I can't go.
try again, madam.
No, but I cannot close the slides at all.
No, no. What did you click on share screen?
Are you seeing now?
We can see you, but not your screen. Did you do that center?
Again, I will try.
Rasik, ask her to stop the presentation first. Let her go back to the share screen and then we'll open the presentation.
Madam, you need to minimize Zoom. Use minimize Zoom.
Minimize. Okay.
Yeah. Now you see what you are seeing on your screen.
Only you. Only you.
Only me. You need to see your minimize Zoom so you don't see me.
Minimize, I'm seeing only you.
No, that's fine. But on your screen, what your presentation is on?
No.
So you make your presentation on.
No, it is gone. When I minimized, everything is gone.
No, no. Your presentation slides. Where is that?
Gone. Gone. Everything gone.
Your presentation should be on. Then you zoom back your, maximize.
Can you see now?
We can see you, but not your.
Presentation is not seen.
No.
You can just talk, madam. We can understand, many of us, not everybody. Juniors may not know your technique, but
No, because the other slides were interesting.
Madam, Rasik, can you ask her to email it to us and we'll share it? Then somebody else can speak in the meantime. I think it's important here.
Let Kittur speak. Let Kittur speak.
Yeah, you can email it to me. I will play it from here.
Thank you.
Let Kittur speak.
Yeah, Kittur.
Madam, you email it to Rasik, please. Email to Rasik.
I don't have Rasik's email address.
Rasik@yahoo.co.in. I'll message you.
Okay.
You can WhatsApp to me.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, you can send it me anywhere. I'll put it on.
Your lifesaver.
Dinesh, where are you?
Unmute किया है मैंने.
Okay, please start.
Can you see the video?
Yeah, we can see.
Back.
My video, can you see?
Yeah, we can see you, Dinesh.
You can see me, no?
Yeah.
We can see you, we can hear you, we can feel you.
But can't see video.
Huh?
Can't see the slides.
No, I don't have slides.
Achha, then visible.
But you can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Huh?
We can hear.
See, now can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was talking was, the next question he put to me was, how did you come up with this decay clip or the replacement for this Irani's clamp?
That was in Singapore. That was in Singapore. APS.
Yeah, correct. Now, Dr. Irani's clamp was being used when I was a houseman in JJ, and it was very peculiar that this much part used to be inside and the whole clip used to be almost outside. So now it was very difficult for us to nurse these patients because Dr. Irani insisted that the child should be kept in a gallows splint, both the legs hung up on a stand. It was very difficult to manage that. Of course, on the sly, I can tell you that as soon as the round was over, we used to put down the feet so that the child was comfortable. But at the same time, we had an accident. The child's foot got entangled into this and he tore off this instrument from the rectum. and we had torrential bleeding. Of course, we had nothing to do, and the child survived pretty well. So this led me to actually think as to this portion which is coming out has to be eliminated. It can't be there. So then we had only this portion now. So how to make this, crush this thing. So this, I worked on so many hair clips which are used for fixing the hairs from Bhendi Bazaar, and then thought of making this. And a friend of mine, he helped me to design this. Of course, the first prototype we got was in polypropylene, but we had a failure, and that's why we had to switch to stainless steel. Now here, I would tell everybody that if you have some new idea, please talk to your engineering colleagues. What your idea is, what the instrument is meant to be, and what are its advantages and disadvantages. And they will advise you as to the material to be used and the strength to be used and everything as per the requirement. This was designed 30 years ago. So I can tell you now the things have changed completely. So I'm happy to say that my colleagues started using this with good results, and that is my satisfaction which I got. Now, he asked me about other things, innovations which I have done. Now, I have not had any other innovations, but I have been thinking about so many problems which I can tell you. And these are practical tips which helped me. Now, having worked in plastic surgery, we used to do a lot of delaying of flaps. That is, you clamp the vessels, tie the vessels, and build blood supply from the other vessels from the other side. Now, this I used in doing a pull-through. When doing a colostomy, what I used to do was, I used to ligate the sigmoid vessels in continuity so that the marginal vessel was built up and it increased the blood supply to the remaining colon and the upper rectum. And that is why when we resected the rectum and a part of the sigmoid, we had no worry about the blood supply to the tip. Otherwise, I remember that during the operation, because the tip was a little dusky, we had to wait, hot mops, and so on and so forth. So this wasn't there. So I have reported this. Of course, later on, it was not very popular with my colleagues. The second thing was, I was interested in necrotizing fasciitis in infants. We had a series of infants who had this necrotizing fasciitis because of, the chulha kept under the bed of the newborn baby, and the baby had burns on the scalp and the back, and so on and so forth. So I had to do skin grafting on these babies. So I had to take grafts from the back. Now there I realized the difference between an adult back and a newborn's back. An adult back has a good sacrospinalis on either side. So there are two bars and there is a groove in the center. Whereas it's exactly on the contrary in a newborn infant, and especially a child who is in septic shock or septicemia. It has a lot of protein loss and also a lot of loss of subcutaneous fat. So here, in an infant's back, the spines are projecting and the sides are completely flat. So now when we have to take a graft from the back, in an adult, we inject saline and hyaluronidase into the center so that to raise the whole back and then take a big graft. But in an infant, you have to inject in the center or on either side so that the whole back is raised. And there, of course, you have to worry about the volume which you are injecting because the infant is very small, 2.5 kg, 3 kg at 1 month. I've done so many skin graftings in these infants, and there we had a problem. Of course, my anesthetic friend, he was very vigilant as to how much I am injecting. So that helped me a lot. Now, the third thing I was thinking always was the intercostal drainage which we do in infants after thoracic surgery or for hemothorax or pneumothorax or after thoracic surgery. Now, I remember in JJ, we used to have a very small bottle, which was actually the bottle used for metronidazole. And these bottles we used to hang on the side of the bed with a very thin tubing, red tubing, and that used to do the trick. Now, when this Romson's set came in, you can see that the chest tube is so small. Then the tube starts enlarging, and the tube is so long that the bag is right under the bed, almost at the level of the ground. Now, the infant has to force the air and the fluid. When I say fluid, it means air, blood, pus, whatever it is. It has to force the fluid down right up to that bottom. So I worked up on physical principles, and I have proved and reported in our literature that Romson's chest drainage set is not ideal for newborn infants. We have to have a smaller set, smaller tubes, smaller bottle, and the tube in the water should be dipping for a much smaller depth than the Romson's bag, which is almost, which has almost a 1-inch tube dipping down the water. But, and I have talked to the Romson's people, R&D department, but they are just not willing to consider because they don't give it a thought. They are always wondering about the sale. But I told them that, look here, technically this is correct. So you should try and work out a new bag for the infants, and it will be picked up. But they have not done it. Now, another important thing was when this Soave procedure is done, the seromuscular tube is dissected from the mucosa and submucosa. Actually, this idea I got from the butcher. I had once gone to the butcher to get mutton, and he was cleaning the intestine. I said, what are you doing this? He was putting hot water in that and rolling, the pendular movement which is there in the intestine. And he said, this separates the mucosa from the seromuscular tube. And then with that hot tube, he just pulled out the seromuscular tube from the mucosa. So, this principle, Dr. Akhil Khan and I, we used in Soave when we did it in Pune. And the mucosal tube gets separated so very easily if you put hot packs inside. The musculus mucosa and the submucosa gets so loose that it can be separated very easily. These are very small observations which help you in practice, and they can be used. Now, when we came about the book, what happened was I was in Kolhapur and I had gone to a territory to see greener pastures because there was nobody between Pune and Bangalore that time. But as Santosh said, you are on your own. So I was on my own. So every small bit I had to call either Dr. Irani or Dr. Tharokkar to ask them as to what to do. And then it came to some problems which I had to repeat surgery. So, and then there was no literature. Our textbooks end up by saying that you've done the operation, everything's fine. What if the operation fails? What if the patient develops symptoms again? So there is no answer. There is only one book now, which in pediatric surgery, which says about redo and complications in pediatric surgery. So I and Sarita and myself, we thought of this together, and we thought of bringing this book, which Zohar has already talked about. Now, we wrote to about 125 surgeons to give us their experience about and their failures, telling them that on no account will we disclose their names, the name of the institution, the name of the patient, nothing. But you won't believe it. Out of 125, only 9 answered, out of which 3 were Americans. This clearly tells that we do not look at our own failures. We don't think about our own failures. And that is what actually hurts me. Now, when I talk about failures, just about 10 years in practice, I presented in Bombay, Sion Hospital. This Varanasi conference was shifted to Sion Hospital, and there I presented the urological complications of anorectal surgery. Dr. Datta from Calcutta, he put his hand around my head and he asked Dr. Dalal, he said, Subhash, we all get this problem, but do we report it? We never talked about it. This is what it is. We never talk about our own problems. And these conferences we have, we always talk about our good things. We never talk about our complications and never talk about our problems. Actually, you won't believe it. One of our colleagues from Bangalore earlier, he introduced me to the national conference as a complications man. So I told him that, look here, everybody gets complications. I only talk about it. So this is how it is. Now, what is the message to the junior people? One thing, writing so many papers, when we had 1 or 2 failures in Hirschsprung disease, I talked to Sudhakar Jadhav about this. And he, having come from the same institution, having learned the same way, we wanted to find out why 2 of my patients had failure. And then we came up to a conclusion that my incision, the lower incision, was a little higher up than expected. So we went into the depths of this and we did a flash study in Coimbatore. There was a workshop when Dr. Charlie had come, and there were about 75 surgeons who attended this workshop. So we did a flash study as to where do you take the lowermost incision during a Duhamel's operation. So there were various answers: 1.5 centimeters above the dentate line, 2 centimeters at the mucocutaneous junction, so many of them. So everything was confusing. So I talked to Dr. Charlie and said that, look here, Duhamel actually described this, his lower incision at the mucocutaneous junction, which Dr. Sudhakar is following, ever since he started practice. And I was taking it a little higher up, and those patients had problems. So he said, no. Duhamel has reported higher up. I said, no, I have the original article, which I have taken from KEM library. And this is it. So I want to tell the whole audience today that somebody reports it wrong, others see it on the net, they carry the same report in their reports as a wrong report. So wherever possible, when it is, about a technique, failure of a technique, one should go back to the original article. And Dr. Charlie said, oh, I'm surprised that my editors didn't see this. I must go back and see. And this is about 10 years ago. He has never seen it. See, this is what happens. So don't take everything, as Dr. Kulkarni just said, that everything what they say is right. No. You have to follow your own method, your own thinking. And what I would tell my colleagues, especially junior colleagues, is try and analyze your work. Dr. Zahur talked about the analysis of undescended testes, which I did. Out of 123 patients, I had 1 testis which was, which had gone atrophied. That tells me that next time I have to be very careful in doing the dissection. That is what is important. I cannot take this operation lightly, even if I am 20 years senior. No. That is how it is. Now think about simple solutions. You see, recently I had an article for a review in which somebody has, added some investigation for appendicitis. Now again, you have to think whether that is specific, that is accurate, and what is the cost of all that. So these things are very important, and you must note down your new ideas if you have. If you cannot do anything, I am interested in biomedical engineering. You can talk to me about it. We'll work it out and continue and do whatever development you have to do. Now, never do unindicated surgery. I have always said that, ask myself that, will I do the operation on my child or my grandchild? If the answer is no, I don't do it. My wife keeps on telling me that somebody else will do it, but I said, let them do it. I'm not. Now, I always tell my friends that clinical practice is like a game of golf or billiards. If your opponent is doing well, or if your colleague is doing well, you cannot pull him down. The only thing you can do is try and do better. Better in your work, and better in your rapport with the patients, and better everywhere. So I think that is what one should try. And that's how, in spite of coming to Kolhapur, I had my own thinking. I didn't have, CT scans and all this earlier, but we made our own diagnosis. We had our own pitfalls. We had our own problems. But I'm happy to say today that I have 4 or 5 of my colleagues and Dr. Zadav and Santosh and Sangli, who always honored our opinions, they have been with us and they have helped me. And they've helped me to develop this specialty. And now they are advancing. They have developed laparoscopic surgery, and now Kadu and Kishore are doing advanced laparoscopic surgery today also. So I'm happy to say that I was happy to establish pediatric surgery here, and now these people are taking it further. I must thank all of you to, give this patient hearing, and I thank everybody who have had that share. But before I forget, I want to share a small anecdote of Dr. Kapoor. We had Dr. Sheth in Wadia Children's Hospital, and he had developed a technique of sacroperineal pull-through, in which he used to take a transverse incision on the sacrum, go inside and mobilize the rectum and bring it down to the anal opening. So Dr. Madhok and Dr. Kapoor, they said, why don't you demonstrate this technique to us? I said, okay, fine. So a patient was placed, and unfortunately, when he took the incision, the pouch was quite high up. So he said, no, I can bring it down. So he kept on stretching. So Dr. Madhok, with all his witty English, he said, Vinod, why don't we call this operation stretchopexy? So Dr. Kapoor said, again with his wits, he said, no, we will call it shetopexy. So that's how it was. And we had a big laugh, and Dr. Sheth got up from the stool on which he was sitting, and he was almost going to hit Dr. Kapoor about it. So this is how it is. So we had our own happy times in both in Wadia and JJ. And so thank you all of you. I hope you are all well in this difficult times. Thank you so much.
Standing ovation, sir. Standing ovation.
Thank you, Dinesh. It was very nice presentation. One thing I will tell is today the IIT has a special division which can develop any kind of instrument. In fact, I did work with them for developing something. We could not get it to the last stage of manufacturing in mass, and then that project is not completed. But they have a dedicated department, and if anybody wants, they can help you out. Now, almost.
Rasik, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
I have known people in IIT, and I have seen the form which they have. The form is so elaborate. The main questions they ask is, has this been done elsewhere? What is the cost of that equipment? What is that thing? So you have to show everything. Getting something indigenous at a much lower cost should be the basic idea about all these things.
Today, for everyone's information, about 6-7 years back, or maybe 8-9 years back, they started this department which is known as OrthoCAD. They wanted to develop the joints with the help of Dr. Manish Agarwal. At that time, there was nothing. And then Chidambaram was visiting IIT Powai, and they requested they requested that we need fund to develop this. So they asked, rather Chidambaram asked how much money you need. So they asked for 20 lakhs. Chidambaram gave them 5 crores with the idea that you will develop this joint so it is useful to the mass of the India. All poor people should get the benefit of that. And today they have 60 people working in the department, postgraduate. So it is developed significantly today.
I know.
And means anyone has any idea, of course, still it is not completely streamlined. Like what you are saying, that paperwork, I said, okay, we joined together for some other ideas, but let it be on paper. Who is going to get, suppose it goes
it's like getting a patent. The people ask me, why don't you take the patent of that instrument? Right. You see, the cost of getting a patent is so much, and just a little change in that size, shape, the patent doesn't work.
Rasik,
That's
Rasik,
how it
can I
is.
get 30
Anyway.
seconds? 30 seconds. Rasik.
Yeah, before you take 30 seconds, I will like to ask everybody. It is almost 9 o'clock, and we have 3 more speakers. We cannot give justice. So if
Quickly.
everybody agrees, we can continue this series on next Saturday evening, same time, 7 o'clock, where we will start directly with Dr. Bharti Kulkarni. We will have trial run of the slide set presentation. Then Dr. Kirtane, and then Dr. Vengankar. Everyone agrees with that idea?
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, yes.
So
Yes,
then,
yes.
then we can give justice and listen to them entire 20,
Yes,
25
yes,
minutes.
absolutely. Otherwise, people might leave, and already some people have left.
Good
So I
idea.
think it's a good idea.
And,
Rasik, can I get 30 seconds? Rasik, 30 seconds.
Zaur, please.
Yeah. So about Kittur sir, I would like to say 2 things. One is I think Kittur sir, Sudhakar Jadhav sir, and Khan Shah, they have a great organization called Deccan Association of Pediatric Surgeons, and their motto is very nice. In 10 hours a day webinar, 4 hours is academics, and 6 hours is Sahyadri ki God mein, and in the Samundar of Goa. I think that's what Kittur told me. So that is very good, Kant. I think that we should continue with that in all our pediatric surgery. All right. Number 2 is about what Kittur sir said about that lower incision for Duhamel. This has been published in the old JIPS, Journal of Indian Association of Pediatrics, which was the blue one, not the green one, if you all remember. And the other one which he has published is necrotizing fasciitis. And these are the only 2 articles I read when I started pediatric surgery. And I was very angry with Kittur sir for publishing necrotizing fasciitis because that was my thesis topic. And I had the first claim to it. And he published it before me. So I went to Kolhapur to fire him, and and then he showed me his UDT audit, and I said, okay, you're forgiven. So, thank you so much.
Anybody else wants to give any quick comments? Dasmeet,
Yes.
Ravi, anybody?
I want to
Yeah,
say,
Bharti madam, please.
I actually admire Kittur, because the way he thinks, analyzes the situation. He had told about mucosal tube by the butcher, and he is not hiding his results. To analyze his results, long-term follow-up, he had called me. It is not that what he says. Most of us say, my results are good. And now I will remember when Sarita had analyzed, that results of intestinal atresia, and everyone said good. However, Sarita went to all teaching institutes and found out the data, and data was such that the results were very poor. So what we think is our results are good is for us, not for the patient. And it requires a big heart to say where we went wrong. And I admire Kittur for that. And getting his data analyzed by third person, I don't think anyone else in India is doing that. Everyone just says my results are good.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
three cheers for Kittur.
Anyone?
Rasik, I think it's a fantastic initiative by you guys, and we're sure looking forward to hearing the remaining people also next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
Sunday,
so much.
Saturday, yeah.
Thank you.
Not Sunday,
sorry,
Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Next
That's
Saturday, 7
20th.
o'clock.
20th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
After this 3 speaker, if everyone wants, we will choose another 3 speakers for another date. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Should we call it a day?
Rasik?
Yes, sir.
Ravi, please.
Yeah. So I think having 3 speakers for a session is a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Many more people, then we try to shorten the presentation or try to rush through it.
Yeah.
This is a good idea. Everybody can talk to about 20-25 minutes, discuss their points nicely, like the way it was done today. It's very enjoyable to listen to their experiences. A lot of them have similarities to some of the things which we have also faced during our initial days. And it's a learning process for everybody. I think we all continue to learn. And as Dr. Kittur said, that we all will have complications, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to face complications, and nobody's results are going to be 100% for anything in life. So we just have to accept that and be open about it. And this is a great forum to discuss this without the commitment of having to show 100% result of every damn thing.
Yeah. Thank you everybody. We meet again next Saturday 7 o'clock, and spread the word so that more people can come. It is going to be informal, same way, nothing hard and fast. Thank you everybody. I am going
speakers list next time.
Yeah, Vengankar sir.
Please don't register on Zoom twice, so it gets difficult to.
Yeah, I think that was somehow, I don't know how it happened. I realized it last minute.
Because we take lectures nowadays on Zoom only for undergraduates.
Yeah.
It's online training, and there is never a difficulty. And sharing the screen was never a difficulty because this is a regular process in the Biparty.
Okay, madam.
Pediatric surgeons are complex people.
Yeah, complicating people.
No, complex, man. I'm not complicated. Thank you so much.
Okay. That was a great initiative. And I like your fighting spirit.
Thank you. I learned it from my boss.
Not from me.
Next time, sir should come, huh? Please get sir.
Thank you, Rasik. Thank you, Zaur.
Thank you, Rasik.
Thank you, everyone. It was a great pleasure. Great pleasure to see you all.
Yeah, the best.
Take care. Be safe.
Yeah.
Was listening to Madam.